Hi guys, today I'll be showing you how I made this inbuilt corset back with an inner lacing and a top zipper. It is detailed, beginner friendly and very easy to understand. So if you want the waist of your dress snatched with loops without exposing your back, then this tutorial is for you. So if you're interested, please watch till the end. And if this is your first time on the channel, please click on the subscribe button and also don't forget to like, share and drop a comment. So I'll be working with this dress that I've already gone ahead to make. So the aim of adding this lacing at the back of the dress is to help snatch the waist and to give the dress fitting. So I've already gone ahead to make this dress, but I was scared of making it very fitted because I don't want the zipper to get spoiled. But with this corset back, I'll be able to snatch my waist and still attach the zipper to the back of the dress. So if you don't want your waist snatched, there's no need of attaching this to your dress because the aim is just to have your waist snatched, add the zipper and loop to the dress, and also to still have the back of your dress covered. So I'm going to go ahead to dive into the tutorial right away. So there are so many ways to actually do this, but I'm going to be showing you one of the easiest ways to attach a corset back to your dress. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to snatch my waist. I'm going to go ahead to reduce 1 inch on both sides because when making this dress I use my actual waist measurement, but because of the lacing I'm going to be attaching to the back, I'm going to go ahead to reduce 1 inch on both sides. I'm going to go ahead to mark 1 inch from where my seam stop, and I'll do the same thing on the other side also. So once I'm done doing this, I'm going to go ahead to connect the armhole to the waist area, and I also go ahead to connect the waist to the hip area like you see me doing in the video. So once I'm done doing this, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to stitch up the part that I just marked with my chalk. So I'm going to go over my sewing machine to do that. But before then, I'm going to go ahead to locate the point where I want the corset back to be. So there is no actual place to insert the corset back. You can place it anywhere you want on the back. So for me, I'm going to go ahead to come down by 1 inch from the armhole area like you see me doing in the video. So this part I'm marking now is going to be where the corset back is going to be starting from. Then from the waistline, I'm going to go ahead to come down by 3 or 4 inch from the waistline. So the corset back should go below the waistline by at least 3 or 4 inch so that when the waist is being snatched, it's going to snatch properly. So I'm going to go ahead to measure 4 inch from my waistline like so. So this is where the corset back is going to be stopping. Next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to measure from the first point I marked down to below my waist, and what I got was 8.5. So the length of the corset back I'm going to be attaching to this dress is going to be 8.5. The next thing to do is to determine the width of the corset back. So I'm going to go ahead to place my tape at the edge of my fabric like so, and I'll take my measurement down to where my dart is. So what I have here is 5 inch. So the width of the corset back is going to be 5 inch while the length is going to be 8.5 inch. So I'm going to go ahead to use this piece of fabric to cut out the corset back. So this was a piece of fabric remaining from the dress that I made. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to fold it into two like you see me doing in the video. I'm going to go ahead to fold it like so, then I'll fold it over again. That means I'm folding it into 4 because I'll be cutting for both sides at the same time. So first I'm going to go ahead to trim the edge of my fabric like so to make sure that they both align. After I'm done trimming it, I'm going to go ahead to fold it over like you see me doing in the video. Then I'll go ahead to insert the measurement. So remember the length of the corset back is 8.5 while the width is 5 inch. So when folding, you're going to go ahead to fold 5.5 inch. So now I'm going to go ahead to take the measurement like you see me doing in the video. So I'll be adding 1 inch to the length for my sewing allowance. So instead of measuring 8.5 inch, I'll go ahead to measure 9.5 inch like so. Then I'll go ahead to take out the waist measurement, which is 5 inch, and I'll be adding 0.5 inch to it. So I'll go ahead to mark 5.5 inch like so, after which I'll draw a straight line. Then I'll go ahead to cut it out. So after cutting it out, this is what we are going to be having. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach my interface to it. So I'm going to go ahead to iron this interface to the wrong face of my fabric. Then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after attaching the interface to the piece of fabric, this is what it is going to look like. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach my loop to the back. I'll be fixing my loop on this side and also on this side of the corset back. So for the loop, I'll be using this bias for it. So I went ahead to fold the bias into two and I ran a stitch on it. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to mark where I want the loops to be. So first I'm going to go ahead to come down from the top by 1 inch. I'll go ahead to mark the 1 inch like so. This is where the loop is going to be starting from. Once I'm done marking it, the next one is going to be starting 1.5 inch below the first point. So the distance between each loop is going to be 1.5 inch. So I'm going to go ahead to take the 1.5 inch mark all the way down like you see me doing in the video. Once I'm done doing that, I'll go ahead to mark the same thing on the other part of the corset back like so. So after marking it, I'll be attaching 6 loops on both sides. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut my bias. So the length of the loops I'm going to be attaching is going to be 2 inch. I'm going to go ahead to cut the strip 2 inch and I'll be cutting 12 pieces for it. I'll be attaching 6 on one side and the other 6 on the other side. So I'll go ahead to cut out 12 pieces of the bias like you see me doing in the video. Once I'm done cutting it out, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to fold the bias into two like so. Then I'll go ahead to place it at the point I mark and I will run a stitch on it, and I'll go ahead to repeat the same thing on the other point I marked. Then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after I was done sewing the loop to the back, this is what it is going to look like. So when sewing the loop, make sure you stitch it at least 2 or 3 times so that it doesn't pull out when the dress is being worn. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to fold the back into two like so. Then I'll go over my sewing machine to close up the upper part using 0.5 inch. After closing up the upper part, I'll go ahead to also close up the center back like so. So I'll go ahead to quickly do that, then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after I was done closing up the upper part and the center back, this is what it is going to look like. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to turn it over to the good face for you to see what it looks like. So this is what we are going to be having once you turn it over to the good face. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to give it a good press, after which I'll go ahead to attach my boning to it. I'll go ahead to attach my boning to the center back only to give that part structure. So before attaching your boning to your dress, make sure you iron it to straighten the boning so it doesn't bend when the dress is being worn. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to go ahead to create the boning channel. So for the boning channel, I'll first of all go ahead to draw a straight line. The straight line should be 0.5 inch away from the loops. So I'm going to go ahead to draw the straight line now like you see me doing in the video. So I'll be running the stitch on this line that I just drew. Then I'll go ahead to run another stitch 0.5 inch away from that line because the width of the boning I'll be attaching to the dress is 0.5 inch. So I'll go ahead to create the channel so that the boning will be able to pass through it. So now I'm going to go over my sewing machine to quickly create the boning channel, and I'll be doing the same thing for the other side also. So you can create more boning channel to the back if you want, but for me I'll just go ahead to attach it to the loop area alone. So once I was done creating the boning channel, this is what it is going to look like. Sorry, it's not so clear because of the color of the thread I used, but all you need to do is to make sure that the channel you created is wide enough to accommodate the boning. Next, I'm going to go ahead to insert the boning into the boning channel like you see me doing in the video. So you make sure that your boning is 0.5 inch shorter than the length of the corset back. So this is me cutting off the excess boning and also trimming the edges to avoid discomfort. I'm going to go ahead to do the same thing on the other side of the corset back also like you see me doing in the video. So once I'm done inserting the boning, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to close up the lower part of the corset back. That is this part that is still open. I'm going to go ahead to close it up, and in doing that I'm going to go ahead to cut a piece of fabric like you see me doing in the video. Once I'm done doing that, I'll go ahead to place it on the good face. I'll go ahead to run a stitch, after which I'll fold it over and also go ahead to close it up like so. So I'll go ahead to quickly do that, then I'll come back to show you what it looks like. So after I was done closing up the hem of the corset back, this is what it is going to look like. So this is going to give the corset back a neat finishing, even though it's going to be on the inner part of the dress. So once I'm done doing this, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to start attaching the corset back to the dress that I want it attached to. So here I have the dress. Remember, I snatched the waist by 1 inch already, so don't forget to do that. So I'm going to go ahead to place the corset back on the dress like so, starting from the point that I mark. I'll place it like this, and I'll repeat the same thing on the other side, after which I'll go ahead to secure it with my pin. So when placing it, make sure that the both of them are aligning. So I'm going to go ahead to keep them in place with my pins like you see me doing in the video. Once I'm done keeping them in place with my pins, the next I'm going to go ahead to do is to stitch it on the dress. So when stitching, I'll just go ahead to turn the dress to the other side, then I'll stitch on the seam that I already have on the dress. So I'll quickly go over my sewing machine to stitch it on it, then I'll come back to show you what it looks like. So after I was done attaching the corset back to the dress, this is what we are going to be having. This is what it is going to look like once you're done attaching it to the dress. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to turn it over to the good face for you to see what the dress is going to look like. So once the dress is turned over, this is what it is going to look like. I'll go ahead to open up the zipper so you can see what it looks like on the inner part of the dress. So this is what we are going to be having. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to lace up the back with this bias so you can see what it looks like. After lacing, this is what it is going to look like. So I'll just go ahead to zip it up for you to see what it looks like. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to put on the dress. Then I'll come back to show you what the inbuilt corset back looks like. So here we have the final look of the inbuilt corset back, looking so beautiful and very nice. And with this, I was able to snatch my waist and also fix my zipper to the dress without any inconvenience. So if this video was helpful to you, please don't forget to subscribe if you are yet to, and also don't forget to like this video. This helps you to recommend this video to other viewers. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next tutorial.